Also today, news that is slightly less positive, to say the least. Fears that the number of job losses around Birmingham and the West Midlands could grow up to 100,000 if the coronavirus was to continue through till September. An expert at Aston University is warning that if there isn't further government support, 1/5 of private sector firms could collapse in the city. 2 weeks ago, the Chancellor Rishi Sunak said businesses would be able to walk into bank branches and discuss coronavirus business interruption loans of up to £5 million to help them survive the shutdown. But thousands of struggling firms can't get through to their banks by phone, or when they do, they're being told by banks that they're not eligible. Professor Mark Hart from the Enterprise Research Centre at Aston University joins us now on BBC WM. Good afternoon to you, Mark.
Good evening, Richard.
Obviously, concerning numbers. Interesting to note, though, today the Business Secretary, Alok Sharma, warning banks that they're going to be expected to return the favours that were done to them in 2008.
Well, I think that's a very important message that the Secretary of State is pushing out. I think we're all in this together, I think, is the phrase we keep hearing, and it's important that the financial sector, the banks and the high street are really listening to the needs of small businesses at this time.
Because your research looking at private firms in Birmingham has found some alarming trends looking forward.
Well, I've been listening to a lot of the small businesses, micro businesses that I work with across the city and the region, Richard, and what I'm hearing is that revenues have collapsed. So basically, there's a cash flow issue. So liquidity is the problem, and a lot of the initiatives that have been announced by government. I mean, I do welcome effectively the 4 mini budgets we've had since the 11th of March. The issue we've got, though, is the money's not following, and it's taking too long for it to arrive. The announcements about the self-employed, for example, we're hearing it'll be June before the money will start arriving. This is just too late. We heard stats today that 18% of businesses could be gone within a month nationally. So I've run the numbers on the data I've got across the Birmingham and Solihull LEP area, and if we ran that 18% across the piece, we're losing nearly 16,000 firms. And most of them will be micro and small firms, and they will. That's how I get to the figure of 75, 100,000. Now, the issue is we got to be thinking about when's the cliff. Could be a month, but I reckon it's probably going to be about the end of the summer, September, October time. So the government needs to be thinking about how we get cash to these businesses now to prolong that period of survival until this crisis is over.
Yeah, that's the difficulty. Is that everything is having to be done on the hoof, calculations are having to be made, and it's just getting the money through quickly enough. How many companies could that potentially save? If the money was made available, say, within the next couple of weeks, what difference might that make?
Well, I think if we got a focus on getting these businesses away from the precipice of insolvency, then we're looking at keeping that number down to manageable numbers, a few thousand perhaps. I mean, obviously, what I'm hearing is revenues collapsing is the main issue. So if you actually keep these businesses going, then they will be part of the upturn afterwards. This is the crucial point. That's what we learned from over a decade ago from the other recession, which the banks were involved in, that the recovery was led by micro and small businesses. So for goodness sake, keep them alive now, get the liquidity flowing. If I look to Germany, the cash flowed immediately to micro businesses, self-employed people. Why wait to June? I just don't understand.
Thanks very much for your thoughts. Very interesting. Professor Mark Hart from the Enterprise Research Centre at Aston University saying that getting the money through quicker could make enormous differences when it comes to keeping small businesses alive. Thank you very much to him for his expertise there.